Hey everyone, it's Desy Cheng, and in this video I'm going to show you how I set up or what I think are the best settings for photography for autofocus for the Canon EOS R5 and the R6. So Canon has actually done a great job because straight out of the camera box it is essentially ready to go. So when you turn the camera on and you access the quick menu on the back of the camera, the first thing that you want to make sure is that it is on the face detect autofocus method. So if you're looking right here, it is this one with this face. You also want to make sure that the eye detect is enabled and not disabled. The next thing that I want to make sure is that on my servo mode, or on my autofocus operation, it's set to servo as opposed to one shot. You could totally do one shot, but because I'm always dealing with subjects such as my kid moving around, I'm gonna stick to servo pretty much most of the time. And even if I'm shooting a still subject, such as just a landscape scenery, you could just still stick it to servo and it still works perfectly fine. Next, I want to make sure that my drive mode, I just usually stick between these three, between the low and the high continuous frame rate, as well as the high plus continuous frame rate. And that's essentially it for the basic setup. So when you click the shutter halfway, it automatically will pick up what they think will be in focus. And if you want to, click something else, you just touch it to focus. Now, when you bring your face up to the viewfinder, the one big key thing that you want to make sure is you want to enable the touch and drag settings. To access the touch and drag settings, you do hit the menu button, and once you're into the AF1 menu, you kind of scroll down to the touch and drag settings, and you just want to make sure that it is enabled. The other thing is also for the active touch area, you can choose the whole panel, the left, top, right, or bottom, but I like to choose the entire panel. For those of you who don't know what the touch and drag feature is, it is super helpful. So essentially, once you kind of put your face up to the eye and the viewfinder, use your thumb, and you can actually touch the screen kind of like a trackpad or a mouse, and you can actually see a dot going around the entire screen, and once you kind of let go on your subject, wherever you want that little cursor to be, that's where your focus will be. So it's an extremely useful tool when you're using the EVF on this camera. So we'll go back here, and when you're kind of going back up, so let's say if you are shooting dogs and pets, you do also want to change this one so that it's animals as opposed to people, but for me, I'm like hardly ever shooting animals, so I'll be leaving it on people. Now, some people I know they really want to have their focus point to be present, and that they still want continuous autofocus and tracking. So you do have to enable that in the menu system by clicking the menu button, going over to the fifth tab right here, and where it says initial servo AF for face detect, right now it's set to auto, so right now it's just kind of auto detect whatever it is first. You do click that and you change it to the first option right here, which is the initial AF point set. So what that does, now if we go back to the camera right now you do see that I have my actual dot, and so right now if I click the camera and press it halfway and I move it, it's always going to be constantly tracking the camera. Same thing if I wanted to say focus on the plant in the background, I press it halfway and it's always going to be focusing it on the back. And same thing with the bag right here, it's always going to be focusing on the bag right here. So that is one feature that you guys should know of. And the final thing I do want to talk about is not necessarily autofocus, but it's actually manual focus. And if you are really wanting to fine tune things, and I know that you guys, every single camera has focus peaking nowadays, but Canon actually has something else in addition to focus peaking, which is a focus guide. So when you click the menu button and on the second tab here under autofocus, you make sure you turn the focus guide on. So you won't see anything right away. However, right when you switch it to manual focus, there is this little box here. And so now let's move the box over here. And as I'm focusing, you can see how those things will line up. And once it turns green, it means it's going to be 100% in focus. So for example, if I'm going to put my focus guide over here towards the back plant here, and then I just got to turn it until it kind of goes green. And then I know I'm 100% in focus. There we go. Once you get that green box. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see me do any other videos similar to this about different camera settings, leave it in the comments below. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and definitely don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Desy31.